Coming up on Oakdale Update, we'll learn about two organizations that help veterans. One is called Veterans for Music, and the other is the Honor Flight Network. We'll also preview a number of exciting events taking place in the city. Stay tuned, Oakdale Update is straight ahead. Hello and welcome to Oakdale Update. I'm your host, Frank Orsello. This is the City of Oakdale's news and information program about your community. The mission of Vets for Music is to positively impact our community's veterans through the power of live music. With me today to tell us more about Vets for Music is Executive Director Pat McLaughlin. Pat, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Nice to be here, Frank.
And that's a good thing that you're doing, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
So give me a little bit of your background.
Well, I was served in the Coast Guard from 1972 to 76. Worked as an electrician. I've always played music. Couldn't play very much. I was a single parent raising my kids. And once I started playing again around 1999, it slowly grew to what it is today. I started playing over at the VA Medical Center in Minneapolis.
On your own, or did you have a little band? Or
a band.
A little band,
yeah.
Okay.
Probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And it's kind of grew. Typically we see some miracles happen when we're playing over there.
Well, we'll get into that, but what exactly is the Vets for Music? What is that?
Well, Vets for Music is a nonprofit that our main event every year is Vets Fest, which just happened last week. And we also are branching out to play at all of the VA rest homes through the state of Minnesota to bring them live music.
The Vets Fest, what is that? What's that all about?
It's a music festival, and it's a way to honor our nation's veterans. We get everyone together, veterans, their families, kids, grandkids. We have live music, and we also have a Huey helicopter landing and a vintage airplane flyover.
Did you do this in Oakdale last week? No.
Yes.
That's coming up, is it?
No, we did it July 27th.
Oh.
Yeah.
I missed it. I was out of town. That's why I knew they were. I usually go to that. I did miss it this year. Darn it. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, so tell me, what is the mission of this program? We'll read it. Go ahead.
Well, our mission statement is using the power of live music. Vets for Music's goals are threefold. One, to give voice and increase visibility for veterans and their families. Two, to help veterans who are struggling to re-engage with family, friends, and community. And three, increase community support for veterans and their families.
Okay. So what kind of results have you seen? Well, let's talk about some of these veterans. How bad are they, or
Well, I think it's a spectrum. If they have PTSD, it can be slight or a lot, or some of them have traumatic brain injuries from the explosions in Iraq and Afghanistan. And some of them are in the lockdown ward, which is the psych ward, because of those kind of blasts can scramble all the circuits in your brain. And music somehow connects some of those memories. And we've seen results where one young man was about 25, and we had just got done playing. My band got done playing at the VA in community living, and this woman came up and said that she had worked with this young man for about 2 months and really didn't get much results. If he did answer, it was like a one-syllable word. And she said by the time we were done playing, that we played there for an hour, she said he had laughed a couple times and spoken a complete sentence. So it is having amazing results. Mm-hmm. It's proven that music is one of the last things to go because where you hear music, I guess, is way down by the stem of your brain. So there's a connection there with people with Alzheimer's, people with traumatic brain injuries, and what they do is they call it music entertainment. There's a budget for entertainment, but it's way more than entertainment. It's like therapy.
Sure. So when you go to these VA homes and where else do you play? The vets homes and
Vets, well, we play, the bar circuits too,
Sure.
a lot of the nightclubs and stuff around the Twin Cities. But yeah, I play at the VA rest homes, and then I'm in Florida for 3 months every year. I play at the St. Petersburg VA, which is Bay Pines.
oh,
And they have a program where they have a bedside program where a patient can request music, and I would go in there like with my acoustic guitar and just play some songs that were. It seems to be work best when it's relevant of time, like when they were growing up, or they
Sure.
have music or memories from way back.
sure.
So-
Sometimes you see on TV about rest homes for older people, and I mean older, and then when they dementia, but when they start playing World War II big band
Yeah,
songs and
yeah.
all that, they come too, don't they?
They do, and they sing along,
Yes.
and they brighten up. There's a real good Netflix movie out called Alive Inside, and it shows they were able to film that, and it shows people actually coming to life. They were old folks in a nursing home. So I think it's an alternative to just drugging people up.
Sure. Do you, your band members, how many do you have there?
Well, typically we play with 5 guys. Myself, Tony Hool, who's another guitarist, JD, Johnny Donovan, he's a bass player, and Mike Velasquez is a drummer, and a lot of times we go with Bill Swanson on the keyboard.
Okay. And are you getting paid for this? Are you, or
Not well, at the VA rest home we get maybe gas money over there and back. That's about it.
Okay.
But some of the funds that the donations people gave at Vets Fest, we are using that to play at all the VA rest homes throughout the state of Minnesota. There's 5 of them, and there's no budget at all for any entertainment.
So what do you call ahead and just say, we'd like to come up, and then you get with the program director, I suspect, huh?
Yeah, we talk to either the music therapist or one of the recreational therapists, and they set up a date. We're going to play at the Hastings VA rest home this Friday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And how are you funded?
Well, we're funded. We get a grant through MRAC every year, Metropolitan Regional Arts Council, and then we have sponsors. We have a lot of businesses around Oakdale that, for instance, Oakdale Hy-Vee, they donated 1,000 bottles of water. Woodbury Costco donates all the food. We have like 65 volunteers that day, so Costco provides all the food for the volunteers and the chopper pilot and warrant actors. When the chopper lands, they disembark and they set up a perimeter just like they did in Vietnam.
Sure.
And then the chopper takes off, and then they pop smoke, and the chopper comes and lands back. So and then when they're done, people can sit in there, get their picture taken, or their kids can sit in there.
Is that a National Guard chopper?
It's a privately owned chopper.
Oh, it is?
I think
Oh.
most of the Hueys, I think, are privately owned now. And they're kept running by grants.
It's HC-34, was it?
Yeah, it was
Seahorse. HC-34. I was in the Marine Corps Air Wing, and it was
Okay.
HC-3 Seahorse. We in the Marines we call it a Seahorse. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what. Yeah, that's a Vietnam era chopper. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, the Chinook, that was a big one too,
Yes.
but we don't have room to land that one.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah,
Of course not.
yeah.
So listen, if anybody's interested in the program now, do you need volunteers or anything to help you through this? Or
I think we're good on volunteers.
Okay.
Our crew's slowly getting trained in, and the more we do it every year, we get faster and faster and better. But we're always open for some volunteers, but we won't need anyone until next year. But we also have a fundraiser every fall on the day the Vikings have a bye.
Oh, yeah.
We do a fundraiser at Wolebski's Blue Saloon, and we have the bands that are going to play the next year. Most of them volunteer to play that day and raise some funds.
Okay. So if anybody's interested in this, you want to give them a phone number there?
Sure. They could give Vets for Music a call at 651-246-9380, or our website is vetsfest.org.
Okay, and that'll be broadcast across the screen here.
Okay.
Well, Jerry, I want to thank you for joining us today. You did a fine job, and you're doing a fine job, and we sure appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Thanks.
It's time for a short break, but first here's a preview of a couple of upcoming events. The annual Touch a Truck event takes place on Tuesday, September 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. in the City Hall parking lot. Don't miss this unique opportunity where dozens of vehicles will be on hand for children to climb, sit in the driver's seat, touch, and pose for photos. This is a free event for families to attend, and there's free ice cream for everyone. Another popular family event comes up in the Family Fun Inflatables. This is on Saturday, September 28th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Walton Park and is free to attend. Join us for a full day of jumping, bouncing, diving, and running around a sea of inflatables. Inflatables for all ages ranging from bouncing castles to obstacle courses to 40-foot giant slides will be on hand. Welcome back to Oakdale Update. Honor Flight Twin Cities offers free flights to World War II and Korean War veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the monuments that commemorate the sacrifices of their generation. With me today is Jerry Kaiser from Honor Flight Twin Cities. Jerry, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Okay. Jerry, tell me a little bit about yourself, background.
Well, I'm a 74-year-old Vietnam combat veteran. I did a couple tours there 50 years ago.
Yes.
And I've been involved with aviation and businesses. And so what happened is that my wife and I moved to Minnesota. We immigrated from North Dakota without any papers, actually. And we've been here for 45 years and been involved. I'm a veterans advocate in Minnesota since 9/11. And my family goes back. We've been in every conflict, starting with the French and Indian War in 1757.
Wow.
So I'm ingrained in this.
Boy, and how did you? How did you get started in this program? What led you to this?
Well, I'm a chairman of the Minnesota Vietnam Veterans Charity, and I'm involved heavily at the Department of the State of Minnesota as a veterans advocate.
Okay.
And I'm involved in a number of different organizations. And at one time I was the president of the Vietnam Veterans of America in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And so we were involved with the World War II memorial dedication ceremony in 2007. And prior to that, I've been doing POW MIA days and things like that. However, that was the first I did of a large aviation flyover. Mm. And I'm a professional pilot. I'm a commercial pilot, and I fly airplanes for the Commemorative Air Force. Mm-hmm. So we decided, because World War II was such an iconic and big thing, my father was in it. Unfortunately, he passed away before I could get him to see anything like that. So we put together a big aviation flyover, 25 World War II airplanes, fighters, bombers, trainers, flew right over the top of the state of Minnesota organizations they had at the state capitol. And that was a big hit. The next year I did one, which was the 150th anniversary of the state of Minnesota, and I put 30 airplanes over.
Wow.
So,
in conjunction with Commemorative Air Force?
Well, that's some of it. They just have a couple airplanes, but I get my airplane buddies and we put together these things.
Oh, that's cool.
And so this gentleman approached me about honor flight. Well, I was immediately intrigued because my father was a decorated Army colonel and retired and a successful businessman. He passed away on me. And I was never able to honor him and my mom, who was a nurse during World War II.
Wow.
I'm a war baby. I was born during the war.
Sure.
So consequently, this was intriguing to me, and I said, let me know. What do we got to do? And so we talked with the national director, and he kind of shepherded me through this. I went on a trial one in April of 2008, and then we started doing it ourselves.
Okay, so tell us about what it exactly is. You take veteran. Well, tell us about that exactly.
Honor Flight is a national organization that started in 2005. That Earl Morris was a physician's assistant in Dayton, Ohio, and he had a lot of World War II veterans. So him and 6 other pilots, he was a commercial pilot too, flew 20 or 12 World War II veterans to the memorial in 2005. And they were overwhelmed with that. And he says, you know, we got to start something nationwide. I'm kind of a latecomer in it. I didn't start until 2008. But Honor Flight has brought 225,000 plus as of right now.
Now this is not just you, but the whole.
No, yes.
whole thing.
Minnesota is one of the 141 hubs
Okay.
in the country, and Alaska. And then another 172,000 guardians go with these people. So it's, and that's costs of about maybe 150, 175 million dollars to do all that.
Okay, tell us about the. Well, I understand you do Korean War, World War II, and then you mentioned Vietnam.
Well, I started with, we just started with the Korea veterans about two years ago, because in Minnesota there were thousands of them. We've taken 1,700 World War II veterans, 350 Korea veterans, and 7 terminally ill Vietnam combat veterans.
And those are the only ones you take of the terminally ill.
That's it.
Because you'd be up to your neck in
Well,
veterans
I
if
mean, our mission statement is to take World War II and Korea veterans. They're the ones who have the least amount of life left in them. They have not the financial situations for them, and we need to honor them first. They kept America free for us.
Sure.
And it's our job to honor them and thank them for what they do. The same with the Korean War veterans. They stopped the communists at the 38th parallel.
Yep. Okay, now tell me about the physical part of the trip. It's okay. You start at 400 in the morning, correct? And
This is a spiritual, emotional, physical day for these men and women, and we've taken over 100 women veterans from World War II. We don't care if they were combat veterans. Unfortunately, less than 10% of these people were combat veterans.
Sure.
But you know, they are reluctant heroes. They don't think they did anything, but most of them, there were 16.5 million of them in a country of only 180 million people, with 30 million people putting stuff together for this fight. And it is emotional for them because they have not really talked about it. They don't really know how they've really affected. They're quiet. They came home after the war and they immediately went to work. Even those with post-traumatic stress, that was kind of combat fatigued in those days, they did nothing for them. The psychological hospitals were full of these gentlemen and ladies. And so that is the objective of this is to let them see with their war buddies that we bring them along with, to be able to have them see how the nation takes care of them and loves them.
And who escorts these individual
Well,
troopers?
when we first started out, it was the family members were less than 10%. Now, family members are about 80%.
So they'd be like the kids, probably not the kids. 'cause
Well,
they're
they
getting
have to
old
be.
too,
They
but-
can't be their wife unless she's a World War II veteran
Sure.
also. But they need to be a family member, one generation below them. I mean, God bless their wives, but they are not an asset, they're a liability.
Oh, really?
Because these gentlemen and
'Cause
ladies,
they're probably just as old, and they're probably
well, the World War II veterans are 91 to 100 years old.
exactly. Yeah.
And
So
they-
usually is that their grandkids or somebody like that, or their
Yeah,
own kids?
family members, and then they must come to, prior to the flight, 1 month beforehand, we have a guardian training. So they get to know the ins and outs of doing it. This is not a day trip to the mall. This is a mission. And we organize it as a military operation. I was a sergeant in Vietnam, but this is my own army. And so I promoted myself to a sergeant major because I can, but I smartly promoted my beloved wife to major general because she's admin and I'm boots on the ground.
As you should. So tell me about the physical aspects of this now. And I understand you fly with Sun Country.
That's right.
And how are they? Apparently they're treating you pretty well. Huh?
Well, they provide the aircraft. However, it's the logistical things that you have to do. We have 4 buses at the present time that are luxury buses. Those have 225 people. We don't take that many, but each bus has a lift bus. We take 50 to 55 wheelchairs with us. I have them stationed already. It's a military operation. I have it stationed already in Washington, D.C. prior to me being there, because we come in at 9:30. And also we have on that is the lunch for that day and water. And each one of our buses has a bus captain and another person to assist in getting them on and off. We have a doctor, at least one doctor, a lot of nurses and stuff who come along. They're not allowed to do anything. They all call 911. This is not our first rodeo. This will be my 23rd. So we've stumbled our way through it. And so that's what it is. So each one of these gentlemen then, after we have the guardian training for the guardians, 2 weeks before the flight, we have a pre-flight. That means I get to see everyone who's going. They find out what the itinerary is. The family needs to see what's going on because their loved one is going on this trip. And they want to be assured that if something happens, we've got to take care of.
So once you get to D.C., you get off the plane, and where do you go then?
The itinerary works like this. One of the big things that we've done, though, is we have police escort. We are just like El Presidente. I have a big motorcycle cop, usually maybe 2 motorcycle cops, and a guy in back that stops the traffic. And we run just like President. Last time I run 26 red lights. Jeez. And we go right through town. Everybody's looking at us. Says, "Who are those guys?" Yeah. They look at them, and because it's wonderful. And so the first thing we do is on this one. The next one will be going on November 2nd. Is that we're there at 9:30. We get they got to go to the bathroom. They take care of things. We're in the buses and on our way to Iwo Jima about 10 after 10. And so we get there 10:15, and we'll get off there, and I'll get all the Marines out. Everyone gets out, but it's just like these gentlemen and ladies are like herding squirrels. You gotta get them in the straight order. And so I take them out of their world and put them back into my army. And I'm their sergeant major and they're my privates. All the guardians are my lieutenants. And so we have a great time with it. And so then we have someone play taps, one of our buglers. We have a bugler that comes with us, and if not, I have one that I've come up. They do it for free. So we go to the Iwo Jima Memorial, then we go to the Air Force Memorial, which is just above the Pentagon. Then we go back and have lunch at the Women's Memorial. Excellent place. They honor women nicely. We have the lunch in there, and we have box lunches already put in there, and so we clean that up, and we give them $500 to do that. Then we go on a quick tour of the city, and if you don't have police escort in Washington, D.C.
You'd still be there.
Yeah, well, right. These cops, they split the highways open just like Moses opened in the sea. And so we go quick by the Capitol building, depending on what the situation is, maybe to the Navy Memorial, and we get to the World War II Memorial, and that's where I have them all get off. And it's quite the experience for them. There, we have a ceremony there where we dedicate, somebody brings a flag of their lost family member, and we have taps there, and that shuts the whole place down when they start. We have them lined up in their wheelchairs, and after that we go to the Korea Memorial, do the same thing there. Some of the gentlemen and ladies are Vietnam veterans. They go over to that side. Then we're at the Lincoln Memorial, and it's very serene there. And nobody bothers us. As a matter of fact, we are very revered, these men and women are, for what they're doing.
So the tourists, the people that are walking the street there, do they stop and give you
They absolutely adore them. These people get off the airplane. I usually have a band, singing groups. Hundreds of people are waiting for them at the airport, and they're just kind of, wow, I can't believe this. They've never...
And these even be foreign tourists too, I'm sure, that are there, huh?
They can't figure out who are those guys.
Yeah, I know. Hey, so what is the cost of this, and who pays for it?
Well, the cost of each flight is about $90,000. $90,000. And the Guardians help us with the $500 contribution. We have people giving me from $10 to $100,000 individually.
Now who gives you that money?
People. I don't, the good Lord does my fundraising. I just cash the checks. $1.8 million.
Jeez. I mean, so corporate money and I mean,
No, not corporate money, individuals. I've
Really?
had individuals give me $100,000. I did get a grant from the state of Minnesota after 10 years of $50,000,
Really?
which is great. That paid for the airplane. Airplane's 60 grand, and the rest of it's another 30.
Is Sun Country giving you a little deal on?
No, they're in business.
So I want to get back to the planes. I mean, as I said before, getting on an airplane these days is like horrible. But how do you, with all the wheelchairs and all that other?
Okay, here's how I do it. They at the airport, and they're in 4 different, red, white, blue, and gold. And they go on when I tell them to get on. They fill up the back of the thing. There is no seating. I tell them where to sit. Our lieutenants and other guys and gals on the things, get them on the airplane. We hustle them on there, and we start putting them on there at 5:30. We are airborne at 6. And then on the way out, we do a wonderful thing called V-mail, letters from home. It's very emotional. That starts this whole day. It's a spiritual, emotional day. We do a lot of praying. These guys, they were praying that they'd stay alive. Well, that's what we do. We honor them for what they're doing and what they did do. And then when they come back, when we get back on that airplane, all the different organizations that are there to watch us and guide them. The last place we go to is in Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh, you do go there? Is that right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very emotional for them. And I've been there many, many times. And so we get to watch right out front. And we always go at 5 o'clock. That way I can see the changing of the guard at 5 and then the lowering of the flag. What happens is, though, honor flight is much more revered than anybody else. As a matter of fact, they'll dismiss everybody else and we're the last to go. And the guards have a special click when they do their marching, just for us. And so we've been there many times. We actually have had tomb guards who were there in the 1950s when they first started.
Oh, wow.
Really? Go on my honor flight.
Oh,
so
really?
yes, they're celebrities there. That's for sure.
So then you load them back up on the plane. Is that the last stop then?
Well, we
Arlington?
eat at a place called the Columbus Club, and they serve us a turkey, Thanksgiving turkey dinner. And we have the color guard from the Pentagon come out there.
Oh, wow.
It comes out, and they have 14 members, and they do a great job with that. And one of their singers and a trumpeter. But that's not the big story. When we get home, my wife, the general, runs the show there. We have at least 500 people there. We had the University of Minnesota at the Hubert Humphrey Terminal.
Okay.
We have the University of Minnesota fraternity band, and they're great, big pipe band. We had 10 pipers and drummers the last time, and all the family members. They put up banners, "Welcome home, Private Smith." From the biggest group we had is out of Iowa. They 40 of them had T-shirts and everything there. Private Slovak or whatever his name was. It was a great day. So we changed their life. And then because they're quiet and they say your responsibility is to be our ambassadors, to tell your story to your family members. I have thousands of stories from combat veterans, from you name it. I have their biographies because each time they go on this flight, they have a biography of everybody who goes on there. Some of them have met their friends they haven't seen in 75 years.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, so if anybody's interested in this, do you have a phone number that they can call?
Well, first thing they do is they need to go to honorflighttwincities.org. Honorflighttwincities.org. I could leave a message on our phone at 651-481-8835.
That's all we have time for this month on Oakdale Update. For everyone at the City of Oakdale, thanks for watching.